Next
Question.
question. Oh, who else?
Jerry says, Jerry's.
Who
I
else
get
can?
extra questions. Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord. Thank you so much for the youth and refugees. Be with us as we take care of the business. Watch over our children, our parents, our faculty, all the folks that service us every day, Lord. Before the course of the meeting, discussion of any item on the agenda should be held in a closed meeting. The board will conduct a closed meeting in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551, subchapter Z and E, or Texas Government Code, Section 418. Before any closed meeting is convened, the presiding officer will publicly identify the section or sections of the act authorizing the closed meeting. Discussion will be limited to only items listed on the agenda. All final votes, action, or decisions will be taken. We have some student recognitions this night. Our meeting.
Dr. Fountain, you going to start us off?
BCE families, we'd like to welcome you. We're going to recognize our UIL students tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Katie Pivito because she is actually the person that organizes all of this and takes care of all of our UIL needs. And then she will bring them on up here. At the end, if y'all will please wait till the end, and if y'all will go stand in front of the Cardinal outside so we can take a picture of all the kids.
All right, we are super proud of these kiddos. Something special about second grade UIL. It's the first year they get to compete, and they took it on like champs, from tryouts to weekly practices for months with these coaches to going to an event that they have no clue what it's going to look like. And they did it with smiles on their faces, best go get them attitudes. So we're just really, really proud. So we have 3 events that competed from BCE this year: spelling, music, memory, and oral reading. So I'll call them up event by event. We have our coaches here to pass out our awards, our certificates, our ribbons. And so they'll pass them out up here. If you want to come up here one by one when I call your name, if you'll hold applause until I get the whole group of kiddos up here so we don't miss any names. So we'll start out with spelling. We've got our coach, Miss Delahousie. So spelling and music memory are team events, so they have a chance to place as a team and individually. So I'll give you both of those scores as we call up kiddos. So we have Aubrey Barbary, second place team. You can come get your certificate and stand with Miss Delahousie. Aubrey Lee, second place team, fifth place individual. Lucas Gomez, second place team, fourth place individual. Elijah Carden, second place team, sixth place individual. All right, way to go, spelling. Well done, guys. So if y'all will come right out here, we're going to take a picture with your coach right out here by the Cardinal. Here, bud, come right over this way. Come on, Lucas. All right, next we've got music memory. We have Coach Gidry here to pass out our awards. Again, team sport, so they get to place as a team and give you both placements. So we have Bailey Degatere, first place team, third place individual. Mia Thibodeau, first place team, fourth place individual. We've got Jonah Jenkins, first place team, second place individual. And Carson Wood, first place team, first place individual.
Wow.
Way to go, guys.
Wow.
They knocked down the house with music memory, really. Y'all want to come this way and we'll take a picture right out here with the Cardinal.
4 places?
Thanks, guys. Way to go.
Golly.
They did amazing. All right, so we've got oral reading. What you have to know about oral reading too, these students are required to stand in front of a panel of judges and dramatically recite poetry. Talk about needing some guts to do this event, and they lived up to the challenge. So our participants this year for oral reading were Callie Woolley, Rylan Wellborn, Olivia Swansea, and Ava Barnes. And I did not give Miss Cunningham the certificates. And they earned them. Miss Cunningham, our coach. I got so excited. I got ahead of myself. Great job, girls. You really have to be brave to do that. If you want to come out here, we'll take your picture out by the Cardinal. All right, those are this year's BC participants for UIL. We're really proud of them.
Thanks for coming.
Right along under agenda or is consent action.
Item number A through I.
Dina, do you have anything from Education Foundation?
they pretty much got everything sponsored out. We've got, people sponsoring the golf carts to get the teams out. There's still a few team spots if anybody's interested, but this is gonna be a very, very, profitable event for our district. The foundation has worked very hard and, the community has supported it, the businesses. Ms. McComb has gone around and getting feedback and has already got a lot of people that have contributed to that for the people that are participating. So I'm impressed. I'm eager to see a clay shoot. I've never seen one, but it's gonna be a very good event. So if you haven't had a chance to sign up, or if you're interested and would like to see it, it's on May 20th in Lumberton. And, we're gonna have a group of 20 students from the high school that are gonna help, spot and pull. So it's gonna be a really neat event. I'm excited to see this. Thank you.
Yes, we'll start with CT. Mr. Woolley, what we're seeing is all that's been done, correct? The temporary walkway?
Yes, sir. I talked to G&G today out there, walked around a little bit. The temporary walkway, they're hoping to be done by Wednesday. I think our kids are gonna start traveling on it on Thursday next week. There's some power lines that they've got to raise up in a couple of spots, so they were out there looking at how to do that, because they've got to get, we have a couple of temporary buildings that they've got to get out and then start getting their stuff in. So, next step for them is to start looking at how to get the power lines up, and then we're gonna start seeing stuff in and out.
We've got two temporary buildings we thought we had to get rid of. It's actually in G&G scope. So they're going to get rid of the bigger one and they're going to leave one of them to be their, kind of their office, their construction office. Yeah, that's back there where you're talking about the electric lines that need to be moved. And they're gonna fence, so if you know where those buildings are now, those portable buildings, and then you have choir and strutters right behind that. Their fence will be on that sidewalk in between their building and us. And then it'll follow the temporary pathway all the way up. So once that temporary pathway is up and their fencing is up, there will be no mixing of students and construction. There won't be any way unless our students climb a fence. And then I guess on that door, are you just gonna put some caution tape and?
We'll do something so we're not breaking fire code, but also
That's the door by what classrooms? Theater,
just keep it up.
TV toe. That'll be the door that goes into the new CT. We're not gonna be able to use that door, that'll be right through the
What door
construction
are
zone.
The kids gonna use.
It's gonna be the far right
The
door
one that goes
by,
the cafeteria?
Yes, they can go that way, they can go by Mr. Krause's old room, or down the other direction towards Welding, we have a couple of doors that way.
that's,
Miss Coach Bowen's classroom, Miss Riley's old classroom, that door is right there.
so they were up here over spring break, putting in that walkway, and it really, I didn't know it's gonna be covered. It's not gonna be exactly like what we have, but it's going to be a wooden platforms about 6 inches off the ground with a cover. And so will serve the same purpose as what is already out there. You have no, you don't, because I haven't passed it out. Construction update for the elementary school. There's 4, Mars, 2, 4. So in the red box on the right, you can kind of see where we are on the timeline, where we are on the money that has been spent, about close to half of the GMP, or right at half of the GMP, and about halfway complete with the project. I have some more things. So masonry will start actually, that masonry already started on the back side of the building. The temporary AC, the temporary HVAC system will go in on April the 3rd. They're going to cover up the windows with wood. And that way they can start on the inside. The permanent HVAC won't be delivered until the end of June. So April, May, and June will be operating with that temporary HVAC. But if we wouldn't have done that, there's so much on the inside, we would have been 3 months behind. And so starting in April, early April, they'll be doing the ceiling grids in the new addition, the flooring. They'll start installing the wall coverings. And they've still got a total punch out date of mid-July. So have no problems. They've been right on schedule the whole time with all these updates. So from the very beginning, we've been mid to late July, so our teachers can get straight into their rooms, and that's where we are currently. And then with the middle school, we had our pre-bid meeting, lots and lots, way more involvement and participation than we had. And we had a lot at the high school for the CTE, but we had a lot more than that for the middle school. Colin feels like it'll be very, very competitive. And again, that GMP meeting is Monday, April the 3rd at 6 o'clock. Those are the 3 construction projects. You have any questions? Don't know, but that's that's the scary one, and that's one they ordered the very minute they knew, and that was the long range, kind of the far out date. So they've been using a pretty conservative date, but worst case, we have to use temporary AC for another, to end the project for the other month.
They're able to do everything
Temporary
with the
AC, yes.
temporary, so that mount it, plug it in, and
Yes.
almost everything.
They
I should
will,
say.
they will have the windows covered with wood, and then as soon as all the masonry is done, they'll get the windows in. But windows or wood, they're gonna be able to run that temp AC. In other words, if worst case scenario, AC didn't come in till September, the building is gonna be complete. They're right on target. Where Mr. Woolley's drone came over here, and good pictures. Starting on page 51, Bridge City Intermediate received $70 in donations through the Pay It Forward program from Education First Federal Credit Union. And then on 53, Bridge City High School Athletics received the following donations: catcher's gear and equipment valued at $779.80 from James Rigler to benefit the baseball program, and $1,000 from Richard Construction Incorporated to benefit the softball program. And then we got a big one from Beaumont Children's Museum for our STEM bus project. Bridge City High School was awarded $5,000 in grant funds. And I want to say that completes the STEM bus minus the wrap of the bus, which I told them that I would do if at the very end, that we would cover the wrap. So I think they're right where they need to be minus the wrap. That's good news. Mr. Welborn, do you remember the total of what they asked for at the beginning of the STEM bus project? I And this is on page. Oh, no, this isn't anywhere. Melinda, if you want to come up. I'll kind of set the stage and then Melinda will go from there with some specific examples. What has happened is really out of anybody's control, and we're going to make the best out of it that we can. The Orange County Appraisal District and the state comptroller values are way different on, and it's mainly on commercial property in Orange County. In Orange County, it's about $8 million to the 5 school districts. For us, it's about $1.4 million that we're short. There's two sides to this. You remember in House Bill 3, used to, your values, you worked off prior year values. So as we're setting our budget for next year, we're working off, we know what our values are. Well, in House Bill 3, they changed it to current year values. So we set a budget based on these values, and then they came in $1.4 million short. So basically what has happened is the state comptroller has appraised properties up here. Orange County has appraised properties down here. We're talking commercial. And so what TEA sees is TEA sees, well, you should be getting this much money because they use the state comptroller's values. And so when that happens, they say, well, you should be getting this much money, so we're only going to give you this much money. They give us less, right? Well, we're actually not getting state comptroller values. We're getting Orange County values, which are way lower. And so it puts us at a deficit of $1.4 million for the year. Again, this is all 5 school districts in Orange County. It's hit everybody. The more industry you have or the more commercial property you have, the heavier you got hit. So we got hit pretty hard. But Melinda's, I asked her to kind of tell you about a few and to keep the businesses private because we're not we're not saying, hey, you need to go raise these values. That's not what this is about. We're just telling you the story of what has happened. But I wanted Melinda to kind of tell you some of the differences. They're pretty astounding. Where some are valued at 1.5 from the state and 250,000 at local at OCAD. So Melinda.
The 1.4 million is actually what we would collect difference in tax dollars for Britt City ISD. So the values are substantially different. This is on Highway 62. There's a warehouse that Orange County Appraisal District valued it at $283,271. The state comptroller valued it at $947,554. And so, as you can tell, what they're doing to us now is saying you should have collected taxes on that $994,000. So we're not going to fund you that difference through the state. We usually collect that money through the state. Here's another example. Get past this one. This is also on Highway 62. They were valued, it's another a warehouse outlet. It's valued, Orange County Appraisal District, $278,814. The state comptroller valued it at $1.597,300, almost $1.6 million. So, and I went through these records and tried to look at it, say, okay, I know that's not my specialty, but there's also some things that make sense. So the state provided a lot of information. We have filed an appeal with the state to try to get those values somewhere in between so we don't lose. I've talked to the attorney. He said, we're right now, our value is 64% of the state for commercial property. And he says, we hope to get that percentage up higher, but you're not going to get into that 95 percentile that says we can have our local value. Here's another one. This is a strip center on Texas Avenue. Orange County Appraisal District, $532,846. The state said $1.1 million, a little over $1.1 million. So it isn't a little bit, it's significant differences. This is on Jones, it's a business on Jones Street. It's Orange County Appraisal District, $361,000 compared to the state of 855, or almost $856,000. The unfortunate thing is, the district has no control over it, but we're the one that's gonna pay the penalty over it.
Last year, this happened on a smaller scale, but it was just Bridge
It was
City.
just
Out of
Bridge City.
Orange County, it was just Bridge City. We were able to, because it was a smaller scale and working out. Well, this one being $8 million spread out over the county, and now it's covered all 5 county school districts. It's a bigger. Every school district has an attorney. Some of them have multiple. Some of them have different. We all have different attorneys working on this, and we're all really getting the same result.
Yeah, it's, I could go on to more properties, but
Go after the state and say, hey, you don't evaluate companies like that. And you need to evaluate what Orange County has, it, so they make up the difference.
I mean, do
Businesses.
they,
Local.
so why?
the state is saying that the district, the appraisal district is valuing them too low. And it's the way the state is saying to put pressure on the appraisal district to fix their appraisals. As y'all know, the appraisals keep going up and every year. This is part of the reason.
Almost.
Yeah, but, right. So in
DA don't
reality,
recognize what the county's appraisal values are.
if it's not in that, there's like has to be in with like 95 percentile of, yeah. And in May, we should find out the first round. After they give us those results, we have opportunity to go again, but it'll be probably August is what I'm hearing before we'll get the final results, which is our year end. And it's for this year, which is, and I hate to say it, whenever the House Bill 3 came out and used current a year instead of next year, I did not foresee this significant of a problem with it. But obviously, their state, from what I'm hearing, their school districts all over the state that are. This is across the state right now.
Some are getting hit a whole lot worse than we are. And you can see if it'd still be problematic if we were saying, okay, next year we got to figure out, we got $1.4 million we need to account for, and we need to do something different with our budget. That would be problematic, but we're having to do that now.
Right.
We're having to do that in our current budget. And you don't build $1.4 million worth of fluff into.
It's really up to the chief appraiser to fix it. There's nothing the school district can do to fix it. We can appeal it to the state and hopefully somewhere in between, but
I think, what if the state is off?
well, that's why the
They're
appeal.
Big numbers.
Well,
I mean,
that's,
what if our people are right, and the state's way off, which causes the differences.
and I agree with you. That's why the appeal, that's part of the appeal process. And that's what we're going to appeal. We're saying you're too high doing this. And the state is using, from what the attorney has told me, a different method of doing their appraisals. They're using revenue. We were looking at pictures. They're bringing pictures back from 2020, comparing them to current, looking at revenue. What I got from the state was very thorough. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna leave it to the attorney to try to figure out. I looked at the appeal. There's so much documentation, which we just got it in today. I went through it. Hopefully we will be successful. But like he says, going from 64% all the way up to 100% is going to be a hard task. It's usually somewhere in the middle.
The bottom line is we're 1.4 million out of 8 out of the, you know, we're all in the same boat. We're all working on it. Um,
Yeah. But it's significant to everybody's budget, especially for current year, because we use, as everybody knows, we use the certified tax rolls to build our budget, you know?
We're the ones left without a check.
Yeah, I tried that bite too.
Tried all
So
angles for
we're fighting
months.
the state of Texas.
I mean, everybody,
Yeah, and we're, whatever they, and this is how the attorney fees work, they get 10% whatever they recoup for us, you know, so, you know, even if we got all of it, 1.4 million, we'd have to pay the attorneys 140,000 out of that. So, you know, it's just, it's a hard pill to swallow.
I mean, the good news is, and Melinda will talk about it, financially, we're sound. We're gonna be okay, and we'll,
I hate to see it.
we're appealing and we're doing everything all the other districts are doing.
And, you know, I'm trying to read through everything, see if, you know, and I bring Dr. Kelly, we both look at it to see if there's anything that maybe we could add to, but, I mean, it's just,
Congressman.
yeah, I would highly recommend them go back to the previous year appraisals, because it makes more sense with these situations. So. We'll have to be the bearer of bad news twice. So we talked to Lauren, who's our agent, who kind of goes out to bids for us, and we talked to her. We had the problem last year with it increasing. It's going to increase again. They went out for several renewals on March 1st. They said anywhere from 18 to 70% increase in premiums.
Projecting a 38% for us
For us,
for next year.
which
So
We
talk
ta-
about the 5 prior years of, I mean, we're like sitting at 300% increase in 5 or 6 years.
in 17-18, we started out $373,000 for 12 months of insurance. If we get a 38% increase for next year, our premium will be $1.5 million for Bridge City ISD, and that does not include flood insurance. So
At 1.1 now.
we're at 1 point, almost 1.1, and that's, you know. And we talked to them about, you know, what would be the benefits of going out for RFP with different ones. Well, they're, which I've talked to some different people, they're not even wanting to give quotes to like your 15 days out from your renewal date, which I'm going, that's, you know, that's a scary thought in itself. But the other part of it is, you know, they're saying, you know, the storms this last year in Dallas and the freeze and all that, there were so many claims on it. I go, well, we didn't even have a claim. We didn't file that claim, but they are using our location as part of our increase in our premium. Our location is truly hurting us, and there's nothing. I go, what can we do? I mean, we're looking at different options of how we can raise deductibles or you know,
Considered to consider current middle school off of coverage. Everything it has survived. again, it's something we're gonna work through and we'll find a solution, but same thing everybody's dealing with. You go to the grocery store and what used to cost you $75 is now 200.
The other part of it is, once they, our, Lauren, who's our broker for the insurance, goes out to several companies, and she'll take the best rates for from each of these companies to present to us our best options. Once they give her a quote, they will not quote to another one. So even if we went to with the RFP, there's not a way that they're only going to quote to one person. So once she's asked for quotes, they're not going to do it. You're going to get your best bet. They are probably the largest insurer in the state of Texas for school districts. They have over 100, I think it was 100 billion.
Well, and like Melinda said,
100
they,
million?
they put 12 or 14 different companies together to give us our current policy. And the thing I was scared about an RFP, you put that out and the wrong company gives you the quote. Well, then you can't be quoted to anybody else. So then you're stuck. So we feel like this company is, they're large, they do it. They do a good job. I felt like we had a really good meeting with them. They're our best bet for fair coverage.
And we use an interlocal agreement in order to work with them. But yeah, it's kind of scary. Now for some good news, we want to talk about a little bit. You know, we ended last year with a $21.6 million fund balance. We have some of that set aside for construction, some of it set aside for in case we do have a hurricane to cover our deductibles and stuff like that. But even with the scenario we have right now with the appraisal district and using the funds we have set aside for the elementary school right now, best case, we will end probably $16.5 million this year, you know, taking those out. So I want to say we're in good condition, financial condition. We're a lot better off in a lot of the school districts in Texas. This is really devastating to them. We can bear it. We just got to make the adjustments. And I think we can make the adjustments in our budget to make sure we can take care of everything we need to take care of. And I think Dr. Kelly agrees with me that I think we can still make the budget work.
I've resent things because we're in session now. I've reached out to other superintendents. Had a couple superintendents reach out to me because they actually their insurance is up before ours, so they're already dealing with it. And service center is saying, call Mike because he's dealt with it and written a letter to senator and speaker. So I talked with Stuart at Nederland. Their insurance is just going sky high. And
Beaumont ISD's having the same problem. Cheryl Hernandez, who's their CFO there, is having the same problem. She actually talked to Lauren, who I'm talking with, and she gave me their percentage of increase because I wanted to look at their percentage increase last year, same as ours, you know. So they're, you know, it's our area that we can't change. And a lot of that is due to windstorm. So when we talk about not covering on the middle school, maybe we could just take windstorm out of it, which would help us with our total coverage area. So we'll just have to, and she's working on some different options for us, Lauren is.
Motion and a second. Raise your right hand.
in accordance with policy CFC, the Board of Trustees is required to have the district's fiscal accounts audited annually at the district's expense by a Texas certified or public accountant holding a permit from the State Board of Public Accountancy. It's recommended that the board retain the services of Kerry Machuca CPA to perform the annual audit for the year ending August 31, 2023, and any other audit requirements as deemed by the Texas Education Agency. Pursuant to policy CDA legal, the Bridge City Independent School District Board of Trustees is required to annually review the district investment policy CDA local. A copy of both legal and local policies are attached for your convenience. During the 2022 fiscal year, the district invested its funds in Tex Pool and Lone Star Investment Pool. The total amount of interest earned for fiscal year 2022 was $123,335.86. There are no changes and/or additions to the local policy as compared to last year. It's recommended that there be no policy revisions at this time. 64 is, 63 and 4 is the pre-K through 5 ESY information. There's just the dates, the times, the rates for extended school year. Yes, the district received a letter from Region 5 ESC dated February 23rd of 23 stating that the following places on the Region 5 ESC Board of Directors were unopposed, therefore no election will be held. Mr. Jimmy Hicks, Place 2, Newton County, and Miss Debbie Nix, at large, Jefferson County. So there will be no election. Yeah.
It's in there.
So the following local policy is being presented to you as a first reading. It's DEC local compensation and benefits, leaves and absences. Language to extended sick leave has been revised, stating that to be eligible for, excuse me, for extended sick leave, employees shall be employed by the district for at least 12 months and have been absent at least one day or one workday without pay. The local policy has been revised and reviewed with the assistance of TASB Policy Services, and the local policy will be approved at a subsequent board meeting. So as it is right now, to apply for, or to not apply, for extended leave to apply to you, there's no, you can be in the district, there's no requirement. So what we're doing is we're aligning it with the FMLA policy, that you have to be here a year before you could take that benefit. Page 74, in accordance with section 2.053A of the Texas Election Code, it is not necessary to conduct a school board election if candidates are unopposed. However, the board must approve an order of cancellation declaring that the unopposed candidates be elected to the office of trustee for the full 3-year period. When approved, these two persons will be installed and assume their newly elected positions at the May 15th, 2023 board meeting. Due to the fact that there will be no school board election in May, there's no need to set up a meeting to canvass the votes. A workshop will be scheduled to allow board members to express their interest in serving as an officer and/or express support for another board member serving as an officer when the board reorganizes. It is recommended that the board approve the resolution declaring that Michael C. Johnson is elected as trustee for position 6 and Mark Anderson is elected as trustee for position 7.
Make a motion.
Absolutely.
Joseph is not here this evening. He's showing lambs with his family, but out by your board book, you can see he's got 3 bullet points in this deal with the picture of the lights on it. Softball, baseball lighting has all been fixed. The date change, BCISD is hosting the regional bus rodeo on April 1st, 2023. Transportation route audit will begin tomorrow. And so that was actually A under 10. And so I'll talk about that. What we have done is we're bringing in a guy who was the transportation director at Spring ISD for a long time because we just want to make sure that last year there was some talk about possibly having to move to a 3-tier bus system because our buses are getting more and more crowded every day. We have one driver retiring this year so far. We haven't been able to replace her. We're advertising, we're offering incentives, we're doing all kinds of things. But as our buses fill up and we have no room for students, we may have to look at going to a 3-tier system, which means instead of in the afternoon where elementary and intermediate get on the bus and then they come back and high school and middle school get on a bus, where the problem is these 2 campuses, that's where the most riders are. So a 3-tier system would be an elementary route, an intermediate route, and then a secondary route with middle and high combined, which what that would do is that would give different start and end times to our campuses. We talked about it at length last year for months in here and did everything we could to avoid going to a 3-tier system at that time. But it just might become a point where it's inevitable. One of the other pieces that they're looking at is right now we still transport daycare on our buses. That's not many districts do that. That's kind of a thing of the past. And some of our daycares are actually going to other districts and transporting students. They're just not coming to Bridge City. And so that's a lot of students on a route. So he will be in our district starting tomorrow for about 5, 6, 7 days. And what he does, it's very thorough. He's done a lot of stuff with Joseph already, looking at rider counts. We do daily counts. We do daily rider counts. Joseph takes really, really good documentation of what's going on his routes. This gentleman will ride our buses and look at our routes. He will talk with our principals about our loading and unloading and our times and how we're doing it. He will be here when the first bus leaves the yard, and he'll be here when the last bus comes into the yard. And so he does a really in-depth study of our transportation, and it's just going to kind of give us an outside look and maybe see something that we're not seeing. Lumberton used him and had glowing reviews. He has been utilized by a lot of districts out of the Houston area, and so it's just one more way to make sure we're crossing every T and dotting every I when we're looking at our transportation before having to make what could be a bigger decision. And so again, we just wanted somebody to come in and give us an outside perspective of what's going on in our department. So that starts tomorrow. And then B is Dr. Menino.
Sorry. Okay, thank you for the board. There's several members on the board that are on our committee, so they've already heard this. I'll keep it really brief. But, the state requires us to have, oh, I don't need the PowerPoint. I just didn't know if I needed to speak into there. Okay. Requires us to have, unannounced, random, intruder detection audits. And we've had 2 in our districts. They've gone to 3 of our campuses. And this last time they went to the middle school, and
found 2 exterior doors that were locked, but just with a lock that wasn't on there, like wasn't approved. So we needed to get that fixed. And then inside, they found 2 classroom doors that were locked but cracked open, and they have to be locked and closed. So we have addressed those through a corrective action plan. We had a wonderful meeting right before this board meeting where we discussed a lot of other safety issues as well. But some of the things that we've done specifically towards the intruder detection to make sure that we can harden those doors is to ensure that our substitute teachers have access to keys to the room in which they're going to sub. So Joseph and Cliff and Grady came up with a really great idea while we were talking, and on January 2nd at our safety meeting, and they had keys created, 10 extra keys for classrooms created for each campus, so that when a sub comes in, they can give their car keys to the staff member that's assigned to take them, hang their car key on a pegboard, and get the key to the room where they're going to sub, so that they can then lock the door, close it, and get in and out of that door without leaving it cracked, because that's a safety hazard. Because what we know is that there's no documented case of an active shooter where a door's been locked inside of a building. So we know that if we can keep those doors closed and locked, our kiddos are safe. So we're addressing that.
Questions about it? So we've had 2 this year already. We've got another one coming this month. So like I mentioned in the safety meeting earlier, I've been very pleased with our results on those up to this point. Any questions for anybody in the back, or all the reports are in here, but are there any? Ren is at the middle school at a deal called Starting Your Course, looking at some career options for high school kids, and Cody is the administrator on soccer warm-up game. Cover that now.
On April 6th, we'll be going to a career fair. It's specific to education. And I don't know if Lamar is going to offer this opportunity, but some of the others I've been to, they allow you to reserve an interview room. You kind of see somebody you like, take them back to the interview room, and get them through that first interview process even before they apply. Some of these kiddos or young adults will come to us with resumes. So we'll look at their resume and talk to them. So we know that we have several openings already due to early incentive to resign or retire. And so hopefully Dr. Brown's going to go with me, and hopefully Lamar has an opportunity for us to interview those folks. We'd like to be able to offer a letter of intent to hire. And so if we find valuable applicants, these are viable applicants. So I think I'm excited about that opportunity.
I might ask you guys in April at our GMP meeting is, in May, you typically give me the ability to hire before bringing somebody to the board. And the reality is we're in those times right now. We had to hire somebody at mid-year. If y'all remember, we had to hire somebody.
They all want to go. They all want to go to the career fair. And they're like, Dr. Brown can't go.
Well, we talked about principals going, and I mean, y'all would be doing the interviewing, but on April 4th, if y'all would give me that ability on April 4th, then on April 6th, we could actually hire those folks and right there on the spot instead of them sliding to another table and getting hired. So we're in a position, we're in a really, really good position right now because of, I'm not going to say because of this, but we had 14 teachers take us up on the $500. But if you knew you were going to leave the district, then we were offering $500 on their April paycheck to tell us early so we could get all these positions posted. So before spring break and during spring break, because she never stops working, but 14, we had all 14 of these positions already posted over spring break. And so, they have to sit there for 10, they have to be posted 10 days. Well, they're interviewing this week. So for these positions. So for $7,000 cost to be able to get teachers that hot off the press and get them before anybody else, it really worked. It worked in our favor. I've done that in a previous district and it worked well there too. And so I appreciate the opportunity to do that. And I know, like I said, for Dr. Menino to be able to have all these posted and we already have applications. BCE teachers for 4 positions. We have 10 applicants right now. A kindergarten teacher, we have 5 applicants. BCI, 2 positions, we have 8 applicants. A middle school ELAR with possible coaching, actually with coaching, 3 applicants. So it worked out.
Early.
It worked out.
Kelly Board, I'd also like to brag on Natasha and my secretary Randy created a flyer and put it on Facebook with all the postings. And Natasha can tell me better, but it's the most popular post, right? So I have Facebook set to where I get notifications of different posting sites to see how well certain posts are doing. We had over 250 shares. It was the most popular post within 28 days with the HR post. It reached over 21,000 people. And so I'm hoping that that's great news. And we're gonna keep that up. And another thing that we're gonna look at is boosting our posts. We can boost the posts for a geographic area. That way, your audience reach isn't only going to follow your page and people that your followers share it with, but it will reach all of those within those parameters that you set. So I can reach someone on Port Arthur, Orange area, or I can branch out further into, Louisiana or West. So we're gonna look at that as an option and just see how that goes to see if we can get some more people. These has one and I have registered for that as well, yes ma'am. And I used to go to Stephen F. Austin just because, and not because just because, I also liked it a lot, but all the applicants from Stephen F. Austin, they have a really good education program. But we only got one in the 3 years I went. We only hired one person from there, so I just didn't feel like it was cost effective. But I do post to Stephen F. Austin's handshake account. So that means that anybody that's in their education department can see that we have jobs.
Okay, first page, you can see enrollment is 3,144 versus this time last year, 3,079. Our principals have been doing a great job with attendance. It really, really is creeping up. So good job, guys, and thank you for pushing that. You can see our upcoming activities and events. I have my last Thompson Leadership meeting this week, Thursday through Saturday. Board work session, April 3rd. That's the GMP for the middle school. Easter holiday, 7th and 10th. Regular board meeting, the 17th. And then April 18th is SLI 2023 registration and housing will open. And you can see the dates for San Antonio and Fort Worth. Do y'all have a preference? The other thing we could possibly do if everybody, I just need to look into this, but if one of these dates doesn't work for everyone, we've actually been asked to speak at SLI, San Antonio, and Fort Worth. Natasha and I. So we will.
You must be rock stars in the.
Natasha.
Huh?
If you look at the next page, 92, I wanted to, we've had an inquiry about a jersey being retired, so I asked Dr. Menino to do a little research and she helped put this together here. So when a jersey is retired, it's the name, not the number. We don't want to get into, in my opinion, we won't get in a situation where we retire number 34 and it can't be used ever again, because down the road that kind of gets lost. And so you retire the name, not the number. The presentation of the retired jersey will occur at a corresponding sporting event. Jerseys of individuals who have achieved the status of professional athlete or who have achieved some other substantial athletic distinction or honor will be considered for retirement by a standing committee, including but not limited to at least three of the following: the high school principal, the AD, UIL academic coordinator, head band director, just kind of whoever purview it falls in. And then we'll make a recommendation to the board. And then retired jerseys will be displayed in the appropriate athletic venue. And where this came from is Jake. So somebody had brought up that's right, isn't it? So was I supposed to say that? But somebody brought up Jake and wanting to honor him next year. And so we got to thinking about, okay, what does this need to look like? And so later on, we will bring that to the board. So if you want to keep that under your hat, you can. But that's, okay. Does that look like it? Can you think of anything? Dr. Menino modeled this after several different districts and what they did. And so, and then we tweaked it and kind of made it our own. Do those first 4 bullet points look like a pretty fair way to determine a
Looks
retired?
fair, but how are the ones that's in our?
No,
They-
if it's,
Evans, Gronette is his number. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just got a precedent we've done did. I want to make sure, check into that. before
well,
we-
and this isn't even, I mean, this is just kind of a first
Yeah.
look at this thing. So, kind of like a first reading.
Our athletic department, they didn't know because neither of them were there.
Sure.
when it was done, and they didn't have anything in line, so that's why we started looking.
I agree with this. I've just,
I hate to
Got
say it,
4
I
numbers
agree
up there.
With Mark. Those numbers that are up in the,
I agree with that. I agree. Just at some point, in baseball or, I mean,
Yeah.
or basketball, you run out of numbers.
Yeah.
And it may be 100 years from now,
Yeah,
but
so far we've
somebody's
been
gonna run
okay.
out of numbers. So,
I wish we had more we could.
D is the cell tower. We talked about it last month. You guys asked me some different kinds of questions and things. So I got that stuff. I've talked to Joseph, I've talked to Melinda, I've talked to others about this. It's $1,000 a month, and it just keeps growing as far as kind of what they, it's going to be 100 by 100 piece of land. And then they're talking about an electric easement, and and it kind of is morphing into a point where I really don't know that it's worth $1,000 a month to put a cell phone tower right by a school and maybe get some questions. It started at $800 a month, and they said they wouldn't go over that. So we just shot 1,000 and thought, well, they won't, and they did. But I just, unless y'all feel differently,
For 1,000.
I don't know that it's worth it at this time. The next deal is a portable building lease, the portable building purchase. So Melinda, I asked Melinda to look into this. It would cost us $170,000 to purchase those buildings and just leave them just like it is. They are $2,000 a month. They should be $2,400 a month. They just never went up, but they're $2,000 a month. So that's $24,000 a year. And then when they come take them away, it's between 50 and 60,000 to demo them and demo everything that's the you remember the electricity that was put out there and all that?
All that expensive electricity.
So you're talking a year plus demoing. I did the math the other day and it's like keeping them for 3 years and we paid $170,000. So I was, again, just kind of run it by you and see if you would just like to purchase those,
Like we can purchase some now
purchase them right now
and stop paying the $2,000.
and stop paying $170,000
That
to,
seems like a no.
to purchase the, again, that's just kind of wanted to run it by you. It's something we can put on the 170 to purchase, or we keep leasing them for as long as we need to, which the idea was, let's get in this new building and we don't, but here's the deal, we're going to get our students out of them. It's not going to be that. It might end up being technology offices. It might be, but the way we're growing, I don't know that we want to spend $70,000 to get rid of portables that we might need in 3 or 4 years. So I just wanted to say that. On page 95, there's a legal agreement that I'm asking for your blessing. This is a guy, it doesn't cost us anything. There's no retainer fee. This guy's name is Steve Dubner. He's an attorney out of Dallas that I utilized his services at Valley Mills. Got his cell phone number. I mean, I can call him. He's very easily accessible. It charges virtually nothing. A phone call. I mean, that he doesn't even charge for phone calls and things. And it's just we still have Blake at Walsh. We still have different attorneys that we call, but this is just one more option to just run something by. And again, it cost us nothing. So I just kind of wanted your blessing to enter that agreement with him. General attorney, but very, 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 very bright general attorney. And the last thing I had was, I wanted to report our savings to this point. In January, we had a savings with Ideal Impact of $5,131. And in February, we had a savings of $19,187. I want to remind you that we haven't, in February, we hadn't even had the Campus Optimizer, which is a system that runs everything. It wasn't even fully installed until about halfway into February. So we haven't even had a month with them fully in our district. And we've, at this point, saved all $24,000 in 2 months. So we're working through some different climate deals. And, you know, when you leave for spring break and it's nearly 90 and you come back and it's 40, there's some things that are going to happen regardless of what you're doing. But we're working through some climate issues, but they have been saving us as promised. And we do need to go into executive, but nobody has to stick around for executive session.
Unless you want to. Oh, you pointing at the kid?
Did you see the face?
Oh, I like that. Her head's down. She's like, Dad, when do we leave?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all very much.